Fridays with Geraldo segment tonight. The G-Man has been spending some time downtown with the protesters, and it's not easy.
Before I say goodnight, I want to end with a couple of statements here about what's happening in Zuccotti Park. The crowd is easy to mock. They are disorganized, they look funny. Some, like the person putting the paper in front of the lens, are aggressive. But they have a real legitimate complaint deep down, and it is a message that I think will resonate eventually as people listen up. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time.
All right, here now, Mr. Rivera. Now, you're trying to be sympathetic to them, and they're going Fox News lies. I mean, you're trying to give them a break, and they're still being disrespectful.
Well, I didn't take it personally. They are fueled with their own ideology. They hate Fox News, and I work for Fox News proudly. So the shoe fits.
You heard what Glenn Beck said, that this is pretty serious business and some big money behind it, and the agenda is worldwide anti-capitalism stuff. Do you agree?
I think that Glenn's statements on the program just now were harsh at best, paranoid or delusional at worst. I think that he totally is blowing the grand scheme of this out of proportion. I don't think anyone's in charge. I think the one word he used that I agree with is organic. I believe that it is, generally speaking, organic.
If you have big people paying attention to this, like George Soros, like SEIU, like these various very, very left-wing groups, they're paying attention to it. If you have the Craigslist ad, you know about it, okay, offering money. How can you just blow it off like that?
Well, having seen it up close and personally, I can report that the vast majority of those protesters are white guys in their early 20s who live in their mother's basement. But you know, they're college kids or recent college graduates.
I don't disagree with that, but aren't they being used by forces that they don't really understand?
I don't buy that. I mean, maybe forces they don't understand will use them or are using them, but that's not what this is about. I think that you have to recognize that there is real frustration out there. There is real fear that they're not going to get a job. You know, there's one job for every 5 or 6 college graduates coming out now.
College graduate unemployment in the USA is 4.5%, which is very low, so I don't buy that for a minute.
Well, I
just saw
a generally well-regarded survey that said that college kids that are graduating to the most bleak job market they've had in recent years.
That's a subjective thing. The stat I gave you is in stone. So you see...
As is everything you write.
Thank you. I mean, it is. I base all my analysis on facts, as you know, which is why we're very rarely wrong here. Yeah. But I'm not saying that Beck is right. I'm just saying that Beck makes a compelling case. When you have these big shots paying attention to this stuff, look, you're right in the sense that the magnet, once the word gets out, is attractive to certain people who are frustrated. That's right. But what's behind it may be what Beck says, a larger agenda.
You know, I report from the street level. Let me tell you what the protest that I saw looked like. It looked just like the line outside the Apple store this morning for kids waiting to buy the new iPhone 4S. You know, or they look like the truthers. It's the same crowd. It is kids searching for another hero.
You don't think it's going to then impact on American society or anything?
Well,
look,
the left is totally adrift right now. The liberals are adrift. They have lost faith in the president. They have lost faith in the Democratic Party. I think it's the Democratic Party who's looking at these protesters and saying, aha, there's where we can re-energize the left. Aha, let's use the blueprint of the Tea Party. They were mocked initially and they became a political force. We can do that with these kids, can be our new adrenaline. They could be our new energy. They can put some balls back on the left. And I think that, you know, that's the vast majority of it. Will there be heavy commie types who are trying to, you know, breed anarchy or, you know, go back to the days of, you know, graffiti and squeegee men and disorder in the city? Sure. But I think that if you look at what this is, generally speaking, this is a kind of a naive movement. They don't know what, that's the problem with it. They don't know what they want. If they were in favor, for instance, of the restoration of the Clinton-era tax rates, or for a millionaire's tax, or for a holiday in the repayment of student loans. If they backed specific legislation and candidates, they would have a movement that had an arc with a beginning, a middle, and an end. They have no goal. That's the problem. You know, I'm for this, I'm for equality, I'm the 99%.
Yeah,
These are all
so
like
you don't see a threat to the stability of the country from these people?
I see a threat to the public sanitation in and around Zuccotti Park and
no
Wall
doubt
Street.
about
That's
that.
what I see.
All right. Now we're going to see who's right, Beck or Rivera. All right. We're going to track it. All right, Thank you. Plenty more ahead.